You've got the expertise. You've actually had success. You've got a strategy that's rocking, or at least it's working sometimes, and there's opportunity right in front of you. So, why do you suddenly feel frozen or full of anxiety, tempted to just go work on all those busy making projects before you make this leap? For many high achievers, especially I see this happening with women, it's not that you're fearing failure. It's actually a fear of what might happen when this all works. You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 446. And today I'm going to unpack a very common and hidden saboteur that shows up for ambitious experts when they're in growth mode. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson. And today I want to talk about something that I'm noticing a lot. I've actually noticed it for years, but it's kind of coming to a head. And I'm seeing a lot of people who have either considered a 30 accelerator or maybe have just rejected the idea that they would benefit from the program because there's a undercurrent of visibility feeling unsafe for them. And it's not always a trauma or a place where they don't feel good enough. Like there's another epidemic. There's a kind of a thing that I see happening where this idea that I don't know if I can hold that kind of success. So I'm gonna unpack this in a minute because this may really speak to something that's showing up for you. And there's a lot of ways that fear works in our mind, in our body, in our subconscious. And when it's showing up like this, it's actually going to contort itself and it's going to show up like very logical reasons why you're not moving something forward, why you're not allowing yourself to be visible, why you're not pursuing that really amazing goal you have to make this greater impact, and things keep getting in the way. Now, I'm going to unpack this in greater detail. And I've recently given one of my tools a facelift. We've given it a little bit of a makeover because I really want to speak more and more to what happens when you do allow yourself to shine and be unignorable. And I've created a little scorecard, and we unpack the 7-step framework that allows you to not just be seen, but to be unignorable. So if you head over to melaniebenson.com/framework, even if you downloaded it in the past, you might want to go get the new version and download it, and read the scorecard, complete it for yourself. It's a great way to self-assess. And then I'll walk you through the factors that I personally use and I've done with thousands of clients to help them be unignorable. Okay, now let me get into what I see happening. And I'm going to start with some of the hidden, maybe sneaky ways that this fear shows up for high achievers, for ambitious people, for you when you're in that growth mode. And the interesting thing is it stalls your progress or it redirects your focus. So you work on things that feel easier, safer. They're kind of these low risk things, but pursuing them doesn't really move the needle for you either. And one of the big ones is, I want you to imagine for a moment with me that let's say we work together in 30 Accelerator, or you've done some work somewhere else and you've got this clarity. You're feeling really super aligned and you know, I need to start talking about something that's happening. And I know this is an issue for my ideal clients and in my industry. But then you stall and you go back to some of the safer content, or you kind of water down the message because there's deep down inside a fear. What will happen if I put this out there? Like it's a bold message. And instead of really leaning into this truth, and again, some of this has to do with your human design, but if you are feeling that call to talk to something and speak to this and to take the lead in the conversation and you don't, what's happening is you're dimming your light. And probably your unconscious fear, this fear of the success is, if this gets successful and it gains traction, what are people going to think? What are they going to say about me? And even worse for a lot of people is like, well, I don't want to like put myself out there as a target. I'm not a big person politically online, but I know a lot of people are deeply afraid of speaking their truth and really making a stand for what they believe in because they're afraid what will happen to them, no matter what side of the fence you're on. And this is very real because in social media, especially, people have this ability to have ambiguity in how they attack you. And at the same time, is the cost really worth it? Is you holding back from what needs to be said and to say it in a way that's really impactful and powerful and is really going to repel the people that it's not meant for while acting like a tractor beam to the people that need to hear it? That's the power of that lighthouse message. So that fear of being judged is one of the ways that the fear of something being successful literally shrinks you. Now, we've all probably had those moments, right? But here's another one. And I've personally navigated this one over the last few years. And when I started to realize what was happening, I was like, oh, yes. And that's many of us have put everything into what we've already done. To get where we are has taken a toll on our energy, on our physical well-being. We've hustled ourselves right into burnout, right? And maybe even you've done a lot of it on your own and you haven't really resourced yourself well. And there may be a part of you that's worried about the capacity for when it works. What if I cannot do this? What if I don't have the time, the energy, the mental fortitude to navigate what comes with this? This is very real, especially if you've had any kind of unresolved trauma, you've got anxiety, nervous system dysregulation. This can feel very real and it can take over and it can actually create a narrative for you that I can't do this. Oh my gosh, I love when my clients bring this one into our space and at the accelerator because it is very real. And there are ways to navigate this. There's ways to access a sovereignty that gives you energy and possibility when you feel limited. So I just want you to know if this has come up for you, I see you, I hear you, and it is real, but it doesn't have to define you. The next one is really kind of like it's a little bit of a sister to capacity and its capability, but it's capability around leading. And what happens for a lot of us, especially people who haven't really been born leaders or they haven't really cultivated leadership, and you're thinking about what's going to be required from your team or actually your role when you do step into being a leader in the conversation is like, can I hold this level of impact? Can I be the person that can take that on and shine that bright and lead people in that space? So there is a self-doubt sometimes around, am I capable of pulling this off? Do I have enough knowledge? Do I have enough wisdom? Do I have the training? Do I have the skills? Do I have the superpowers that'll be required? And especially when you start to get into comparisonitis. I was working with a client in the accelerator not too long ago, and she brought into the space that I've been comparing myself, and I get put in these situations, and I get triggered. What do I do? And I love that, when somebody is recognizing I'm holding myself back because I don't know if I'm capable of navigating that level of responsibility and owning the conversation and being that leader. Well, there are things you can do about that. And just recognizing that might be in the way is something that can be resolved. There's some other little pieces of it. This is the imposter syndrome. There's um, what if I shine too bright? What if I am covering things that my ideal clients don't resonate with, or the people that I've been working with up to now, if I go this direction, what if I lose people along the way? Like people I care about, clients, family, friends, right? And we're attached to the way things are now. What if I have to let go of this to go where I'm going next? Well, I'm going to tell you what's happening in the industry today with all of the technology advancements, with major shifts in most people's industries. That attachment to holding on to what you have could actually be a death grip and be keeping you from really shining into who you're supposed to be and where you're meant to evolve into next. And I know for a lot of people, this is a very practical thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I have worked so hard to build the thing I have. Am I really going to let that go and step into this new thing? Well, you probably are. And you may just have to in order to really be where you're meant to be. Okay. So there's so many different ways in which we can make up a story, and we craft this entire paradigm of, I don't know if I can pull this off. If it really succeeds, what will I lose? Instead of, if when this succeeds, who do I have to be so that I can grow with this, so that I can be ready for that visibility? So I really feel like I am the version of myself that needs to and can really, in a healthy way, pull this off. Here's a thought. Success can challenge your identity. And when your nervous system doesn't feel safe holding more visibility, elevating your authority, receiving more attention, it will find ways to shrink you back into the familiar, to the comfort zone, to where you know. There's that old saying, like, new level, new devil. Well, a lot of people hold on to the devil they know because they know how to navigate that at least. But like, I don't know what's going to happen in that new place. So what if today we start to explore how to allow more, how to allow yourself to be more sovereign in your visibility, to be more allowing for yourself to be seen in the most aligned, authentic version of yourself, right? So there's a lot of tools that I pull out of the toolbox. One of them is a newer tool in the toolbox, and that's really understanding that the nervous system plays a significant role. And you're going to meet somebody on the podcast really soon that talks a lot about nervous system work and, you know, how the nervous system can actually lie to us and tell us it's not safe to be seen. And well, actually, let me rephrase that. It's not that it's lying to you. It's just that it's at its current state, it does not have the ability to hold more coming this way. And it's learned to equate more visibility, more success, more people in their life, right? Or more team, whatever it is, with a threat. And so when your nervous system sees it as a threat, guess what? Your body constricts, you hold back, and you will find a lot of reasons to be busy doing things that don't really fulfill you or help you really connect with your greater goals in life and keep you safe. And sometimes safety is all we can do. And I really want to acknowledge, if that's where you are, honor it, but lean into it and really look at, like, where is in your body the place where it doesn't feel safe to be seen. Really being with that and unpacking that and going deeper into that it's a lifeline. It's where we reignite the spark. It's where you get to do the work that, so sometimes slowly, but oftentimes necessary, healing of your nervous system and creating new tools for your nervous system so that you can navigate what it means to be seen in a greater way, to be more visible, to bring your real work out in a greater way. Another thing that I think plays out for a lot of us is this upper limit conditioning. So depending on what you learned as a child, some of the conditioning in your life, each human being has a threshold for how much success we believe we are capable of experiencing. Okay, Gay Hendricks wrote a fantastic book called The Big Leap. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend you do. And that upper limit starts to kick in, and will self-sabotage. Like life will start to throw a whole bunch of stuff at you, and you're like, why is this happening, right? Well, oftentimes it's tied back to that nervous system issue, the limiting belief about what we are capable of. We can't see the resources that we're meant to have. And again, instead of allowing ourselves to be lifted and elevated, we shrink. We shrink into the safest place we know how to hold on to what we have. But oftentimes you're paddling like, the ducks paddling really fast under the water, like on the top, it's like, okay, I can handle this. But underneath, there's a lot of efforting and a lot of energy going out to hold on to that. And it's not really serving you. Okay. This is not mindset alone. Like many years ago, 20 years ago, when I learned about mindset, I really thought mindset was the game. But then I started to realize that there's so much more going on in the physical experience, in the energetic experience, and our emotional patterns don't necessarily allow us to leap. Sometimes we have to slowly unravel what is and dissolve its hold over us so we can start to expand the capacity. Some people can leap. Many people need to do this a little bit differently. So you are in the space, or somebody who's really been bumping up against that hidden barrier. First of all, just acknowledging what's really going on. This is what we have to do, because again, your logical mind doesn't want you to do the new thing. So you're going to make up a lot of rational, logical reasons why not doing it makes sense. I'll give you a really silly but very common thing that I've been doing is, for me, when I have to travel, things get a little more complicated. I have dogs that, we got to take somewhere. I have a lot of food allergies, and so I have to navigate those. And so I have this huge, huge thing that I put this hurdle on travel. And it's ridiculous because I used to be going to events all the time. And I realized, like, I'm not showing up in the rooms I need to show up in. And the only reason I'm not is because I've got all these made up hurdles of what it is that is in the way. Now, the moment I decide I'm going to do something, I'm going to go somewhere, I figure it out, right? Like, because I'm going to go, I'm committed. I got to figure it out. And that's what's happening. No matter what thing is going on for you, when you're committed to not doing it, you're going to reinforce it. You're going to find all the problems, all the reasons, all the shortcomings, all of the lack, all of the challenges. That's what's going to take up your energy. So we first have to acknowledge what's really going on. What is the obstacle that's becoming so big? That's holding you in this position right now. And sometimes it's very unconscious and you don't know. I use a lot of NLP and sometimes hypnosis work and, kind of somatic work to really uncover what is in the way. Awareness is the first step. And if you're not working with a coach, something you can do is you can give yourself some journal prompts. Okay. If I was to allow myself to be more seen, what might happen? What's good about that? What's bad about that? Okay. So that's a good journaling prompt. And what am I afraid might happen if this does work? Okay, so I'm worried I'm going to get burned out. I'm worried that I'm not going to have time for the people that I love. I'm worried that I'm going to spend more money than I make, right? Like whatever it is. Okay, I want you to just be with that a little bit. Secondly, if you are noticing that you have health issues, anxiety, you're exhausted, you're burned out, your body's not cooperating with your ambition and your goals, chances are you have some nervous system dysregulation. And if you try to leap before you have the energetic capacity, you're going to constantly be in stop-start. And you might be able to push through it a little bit, but you're always going to end back in that kind of that health challenge, that burnout, that falling apart mode. Fight, flight, freeze, and now fawn, that many people are seeing are very real. And they're misinterpreted a lot of times. Like we oftentimes think this is my gut, right? Or this is my intuition. But actually what it is there's a pattern that your body's running to get you back into safety. And so it's really important to work with somebody who's trained in nervous system dysregulation and or to help you really anchor in safety. and to help your body reintegrate practices where you really understand this is not aligned with me. And this is just simply my conditioning, my old traumas, my energy system isn't feeling ready for this. Here's how I can move through that. Here's how I can heal it. So there's so many different ways to do that. There's a lot of stuff out there on nervous system dysregulation. As mentioned, I've got somebody coming on soon who will talk about that. Breath works, somatic practices, EFT, which is tapping, emotional freedom technique. There's very simple practices of nervous system support. I will tell you one simple thing you can do. This is what a lot of times when we are in that freeze or that fight mode, you stop breathing or you're breathing really shallow. So one thing you can do is to give yourself 2 minutes to do what they call long breathing. Okay, so it's like breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Try that with me really quick. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, super simple. And when you notice you're getting reactive, you're shutting down, you're feeling overwhelmed, try that. What you're doing is you're reconnecting to your body. And then what you can do after you breathe for do it 3 times, 5 times, get yourself calm, say, what am I noticing in my body right now? And is there a message that has for me? I mean, really, really simple, but our body can tell us where we need to do the work, what's going on, what it needs to feel safe again. Okay, so there's some practices you can start around that. Okay, and you definitely want to lean into somebody who's an expert, really get the right support. If you've got a lot of trauma and a lot of anxiety or a lot of PTSD or any of that, like don't just like try to surface level do it. I have invested thousands of dollars in really extraordinary experts to help me navigate some complicated stuff that was really dysregulating me. Now, I want to talk about alignment because alignment is another key piece of this. Okay, so with alignment, we start to recognize where we're maybe saying yes to things that are taking you out of your best energy patterns and you're missing or creating more energetic misalignment, which is going to lead to that dysregulation. It's going to lead to burnout, right? And a big part of this is like you have to start with rewiring your identity. Okay, you have to recognize that you can be the person who does whatever you want, but you have to decide. And you need structures and support systems around that. And when you start to tell yourself, I'm willing to become the version of me that millions of people see, or that has a book out, or who does speaking regularly, right? Whatever the thing is that maybe you've been resisting, you start to become aware of what's in the way. What kind of support would I need so that I could build that confidence? Okay, so maybe you need a program like Authority Accelerator to help you put all the pieces together. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need some nervous system support, right? Maybe you need team. So you need to work on the permission to yourself to really become the version of you that can do that. Now, going back to alignment, this is one of my favorite things to do with my clients is uncover, especially if we can tap into your human design, what is the most aligned version of you with visibility in your messaging, in your money strategies, so that you aren't saying yes to something that takes you out of alignment and you're saying yes to something that brings you more into alignment. So really simple thing like manifestors, which I am, our thing is to follow the spark. And oftentimes we are going to take really big, bold action that would really be dysregulating and out of alignment for other people. But we're meant to initiate from a very bold place. And when we don't do that, we kind of like bring it down and we hold on to it too long, or we squash those sparks, it can lead to like a lack of motivation and feeling invisible because people just don't get what we're doing. I worked with a client one time who was a manifester, but she was acting like a projector. And she kept waiting for people to invite her into stuff. I'm like, you got to get out there and start initiating conversations. Like, So when we got her work really dialed in, she got her messaging really dialed in, and she started putting it out there, people were really responding to it. I actually just ran across a text message from her that she sent me a couple years ago when we were really deep in this. And she's like, oh my God, I did what you said. And I really put the message out, and I was scared, but I did it anyway. And I had 3 people message me going, that was hot. And one of them booked a consultation. So manifestors have to operate differently than the other styles. Like if you're a projector has to put like their information out, like they kind of just have to solidly educate and continue to like feed the visibility machine what they do, but they're not going to take initiative and spark big, bold things, right? So their strategy is going to be very differently. And when projectors feel like, oh my God, I got to go run an event, or I got to do this, or I got to do that, like their strategy is going to be deeply different. So really understanding what alignment for you is, if you understand your human design and you can fine tune that, has a massive ability to help you feel energy and help you feel safe and feel you connected, and know that what you're putting out has this spark and this energy behind it that can amplify more effortlessly. So my point in wanting to bring this to you today is there is an epidemic of people who consciously or unconsciously are holding back from the greatest version of themselves, the real message they're meant to put out in the world. And it's not the fear of failure. It's oftentimes not imposter syndrome or any of those other things. It's just simply there's a conflict or a fear of what will happen to them when it does work. And when you kind of shore that up and really get that resolved, you're unstoppable. I think it's important to remember you don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to copy anybody's model. You don't have to emulate that. If you've got mentors telling you you're doing it all wrong and you have to be a different version of yourself to succeed, I would say run. What you need to do is become more of who you're designed to be and to create the energetic capacity for that to be amplified. So that's the work to do. And when you are ready to stop holding yourself back and stop shrinking away from that biggest, boldest, most powerful version of yourself, and to step into full visibility and success in a way that's in harmony and sustainably, then I want to talk. I would love to hear what it is. And if Authority Accelerator or one of my private VIP packages is right for you, let's dial it in. Let's get your energetic capacity in congruence with what you are here to do. Okay, I'll link up Authority Accelerator in the show notes. And what I want to leave you with is make your body, make your energy congruent with shining brighter. Because right now, we need a lot of great light shining out there. Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. We're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.